Parmesan cheese. Anyways, here's what I'm gonna try to do today. Since working in Unity became kind of boring, I decided to take it a step further, so in this video we are blind. I'm gonna close the scene as well as the game window, and I can only rely on logs, the hierarchy and the inspector to get an idea of what is happening, and at the end I'm gonna open the game window and hit play. Oh, and also I only have 2 hours, so let's go. I'm going to recreate Subway Surfers, but before starting we can't forget we have to close these 2 windows. Good. Alright, so the timer starts now. We obviously need a player, so let's go ahead and create a cube. Now I'm gonna have to use 100% of my brain, because I'm gonna try to land the player exactly on the ground. Around here, I would guess. Now unfortunately, there's no way to actually tell whether the player is in correlation to the ground. Or is it? Now while coding, I encountered a problem, so I've set up the input for teleporting the player left and right, and when I press play and press A or D, I should see this number change. It doesn't, and surprisingly that's not my fault. You see, you need to have focus on the game window to register the input, otherwise the engine will get the input. See the problem? I can't focus on anything because there's not a game window. So... Okay, now we can register the input without actually seeing what is happening. So that's great. So remember when I said that there's no way to actually detect if the player is exactly on the ground? You have to remember it was like 20 seconds ago. Anyways, the point is, I lied. I can actually find out using collision detection, and after toggling this, now every time I land back on the platform or leave the platform, I get notified, and you just gotta feel it, you know what I mean.
What do you mean by that?
Next up, I decided to create some chunks. For reference, when I say a chunk, I mean a piece of the level that doesn't change but spawns randomly to give the illusion of endless levels. You know, when you play the game for like 10 minutes you start to notice some patterns. That's because there are chunks that spawn randomly. Another cool thing to note is that instead of the player moving through the level is actually moving through the player. Pause. My guess of why this happens on endless runners? Because this thing is used in Flappy Bird as well as Subway Surfers. Probably to save up resources, since it is much easier for the GPU to calculate the position at Z100 than at Z10,000. Now apart from almost smashing my monitor, the obstacles don't trigger any collision with the player when it should. I mean, I tested for a while all the possible scenarios where I would mess up, but turns out it's not my fault. Mostly. Since when adding a kinematic rigid body and you want to have collisions, you have to act against Unity to do so. I have no idea why, but adding another kinematic rigid body on each obstacle seems to solve the problem. Now you might ask, isn't that expensive and not really necessary when you could just tweak the player code a little bit to achieve the same result? Well, yeah, but it's not like anyone's gonna play this, so I can do whatever I want just because I can. Let's say that somehow making and guessing 3 chunks based on just positions and nothing else turned out as expected. Although I got a sneak peek by mistake, I would still have to randomly spawn them. I wanted to make one chunk to have the size of 5, so after typing a bit, this is what turned out. Man, I can't show any footage, can I? That's the fun part, nobody actually knows what I've done until I tick a button. I figured it's a good idea to start making some textures to just make things more complicated. I started with the ground with this grass look, then for the crates I just changed the color and added 2 more stripes, and that's it. Nope, there's still the player left to do, but before that don't forget to subscribe, like and everything else. I heard someone ask, why should I subscribe? Because I'm making my own game engine at 1000 subscribers, and as you can see we're very close, so subscribe. Alright, back to the video. Psst. Hey you, I got something to show you. Alright editor, cut the music. So I'm technically not allowed by the narrator, which is still me, to show you this, but I actually managed to get this footage. Look, it's that game engine he talks about in every video. I mean, not that cool and all, but he's made something. You know, I'm really curious what video will he make about it. But you have to subscribe for that. I mean, I wish there was another way, but I don't think he'll make any video until then. Anyways, I was never here. Remember, if he asks, you want to see the player texture. For the player, I decided to recycle Bob from floor 15 to be our main player. Now if you remember, he was a bean can, but now he's a bean cube. Know what else would make this even crappier? Sounds. So we need jump and die sounds, which I got relatively quickly and implemented them in a second. There's nothing too interesting about this, so next thing off the list is Skybox. That's what it is. Actually, a cool thing about it is that you can generate cool skies for your game or whatever using AI, and you just select a template and of course it doesn't work. Oh, you can download the examples. Say less. We just got ourselves the deal of our life, a free AI generated no watermark skybox. So I just need to put these 6 textures in and looks good enough. But the question is, will this still look good in the game? Only one way to find out. I'm reviewing the game in 3, 2, 1 and the camera angle is wrong. Okay, this has to be the other way around. Nice. Now let's hit play and let's say that at least Bob learned how to walk using his hands and the crates are defying gravity in general. Apart from that, you can see that the chunks are too eager to spawn, so they intersect. But you know what slaps? The sound. Just listen to this. This is the kind of spatial sound that they expect from GTA 6. Now let's talk business. How can we fix this? Well, clearly, if you think that this is not an exact replica of Subway Surfers, then you haven't played the game. Although, if I just set this value to 0.6, the crates won't float anymore, so that's a fixed bug. What else? Oh, I know, I just have to click this button.